We have reached the third week of Nebraska fall practice. It is flying by. And over the past couple days, there is one thing that has impressed me more than anything else that nobody is talking about. It is these impact freshmen for the Huskers. They've been balling out. The Huskers are expecting not one, not two, not three, not four, but over 5 freshmen to burn their red shirt and play in their first year. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the latest on all these guys. Who's been playing well in fall ball, who has not, who's going to redshirt, who's going to play immediately, who is injured and potentially out for the entire season, and so much more. So really quick, this is a loaded freshman fall camp update. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, the season's almost here. If you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for to get daily content talking favorite team, talking Huskers? It's a no-brainer. It takes 2 seconds. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But with that being said, let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about, specifically discussing Nebraska's freshmen, the guys who are potentially going to play a lot in their first year, guys who are going to redshirt, guys who are injured. And I want to get things started with the player who, in my opinion, has impressed me the most over these past couple weeks. It's not who you'd expect. It's not a wide receiver. It's not a running back. It's not somebody on this defense. He was a former 4-star. This is TJ Lateef. Now, when I tell you that TJ has completely shattered all my expectations for him, I'm probably underselling it. Like I told you guys just a couple of weeks ago, I totally believed he was going to redshirt for the Huskers. Now, this is somebody who was a Big Ten recruit coming out of Compton. He carried his high school squad to become one of the best in America. He's somebody who has that clutch factor. Like when the game gets tight, he knows how to win. He knows how to make that play. We haven't had that at the quarterback position in some time. We need more clutch players who believe in themselves. And the best part about TJ Lateef is the ability to get to the pocket, to make something with his legs. Like he's fast, he's speedy, he's somebody who embraces the contact. So there's so much like around TJ, but I'll be very honest with you. I saw him at the spring game just a couple months ago, and it was clear to me when I watched him perform that he just wasn't ready, right? It's one thing to be super talented, but it's another thing to be ready from an IQ standpoint, from a progression standpoint, from learning Big Ten defenses standpoint. And we just hadn't seen that yet from TJ Lateef. That's changed in fall camp. He's on a different level. Now, the first thing that impresses you, obviously, is the physical traits. Like, the arm strength is great. The accuracy is so much more improved. The ability to get outside the pocket. We have not seen that from any Nebraska quarterback since Adrian Martinez. So, that's something that has really balled out in fall camp. But the IQ has gotten so much better. Learning Big Ten defenses, adjusting to the speed of the game. He's better in almost every single facet, where right now it's clear he's a third-string quarterback for Nebraska behind, of course, Jalyn and Jalyn Gramstad. There's a real reality if he continues on this trajectory of improvement that he's our quarterback too as the year progresses. That's a very real reality. And I would be in favor of that because while I believe Jalyn Gramstad is a very smart quarterback, he's a veteran, I do not believe that Jalyn Gramstad can will us to a win. When the game gets tight, I don't think Jalyn Gramstad can make that clutch pass because he's just not super athletically gifted. TJ Lateef's different. Like he is athletically gifted. He can throw any single ball that needs to be made on the football field. He can get out to the pocket and make some with his legs. TJ Lateef can will you to a win. Now, it's tough from a true freshman standpoint, but that's what one of them ones can do. Man, like he's had such a strong fall camp. So at this point, I have no idea what to expect from him. Like he still very well could redshirt and only play in 4 games. But Matt Rhule said time and time again, like if you are a productive player, if you're talented, we're going to find a way to get you on the field. And they might just say, you know what? He's going to play sooner rather than later. We're going to burn his red shirt because, who says maybe he does redshirt and he transfers out and plays somewhere else? Like, we want him to feel like he's valued here because he's in our long-term future. But I've just been super excited about everything I've heard about TJ Lateef. I believe right now, with all of my heart, that he's the second best quarterback on this roster because that's what we heard, just a couple Saturdays ago at that open practice to the fans. Like, Dylan was here. Here was TJ. And then Jalyn Gramstad was far below. Like Jalyn did not have a good practice. And that's not too shocking. Like Jalyn's just, I'm not a big Jalyn guy. I think he's a very smart quarterback, but when I've seen him in person, both, a couple Saturdays ago, and then of course at the spring game, like I just don't feel like Jalyn Gramstad's that good. TJ Lateef, while there are some question marks with him too, and I don't expect him to be the smartest quarterback right away from a physical standpoint, man, he is so impressive. So I'm excited about TJ. We'll see what happens, but he's at a very strong fall camp, and I'm excited to hear that about him, and hopefully he sticks around for the long haul, but expect him to play a lot this year as a first year. Then let's get to some more breakout players for Nebraska, freshmen who are going to play a lot, burn their red shirts. Cortez Mills is somebody who I had some questions about. We know how much of a jump ball receiver type he is. I compare him a lot to OBJ. He's a very similar player to OBJ. He's kind of undersized, about 6 foot tall, but the hands are phenomenal. The one-handed grabs, the contested catches, the 50-50s. He just reminds me of OBJ all throughout his film. But the main thing for Cortez Mills was adjusting to Nebraska, obviously coming out of Florida. Like, that's a tough adjustment sometimes, doing everything right from Monday to Friday. And he's hit the nail on the head. Like he's had no problem since he got here. It's all business. It's all get on the field immediately. Cortez Mills has been phenomenal. And he was one of the MVPs when the fans saw, practice a couple weeks ago. Like there was one play where he just mossed a defender 40 yards down the field, jump ball, he went down with a touchdown. He's just so naturally gifted with his athletic upside, with his catch radius, even with his route running, which is really polished for somebody only 18 years old. It's impossible for Nebraska to keep him off the field. So he's somebody who I'm super excited to see in this receiver corps, but he's absolutely not going to redshirt. He's going to play in all 12 games. Now, what's his role going to look like? I think, again, he's not going to get too many catches. He's probably going to get maybe 2 catches a game at most. I'd say 200 yards on the season. Like, it's not going to be an expanded role. It's not going to be, as big of an impact as Jacory had last year, just because this receiver room is a lot better than what it was last year. But Cortez will obviously get in the game a lot, and there's going to be a lot to be excited about going into next year, where he's probably one of our main guys. And then, Jeremiah Jones is somebody who's also had a really strong camp. I mean, you just see Jeremiah Jones on the field, and you're like, man, that guy looks different. He looks different. 6'4", he might be even 6'5". He's 230 basically, which is an unreal weight for a wide receiver, but he runs like he's only 200 pounds because he's so speedy, he's so quick. I mean, he's a freak. And he's somebody who could play all over this team. Like, he could play at running back, which he did in high school. He can play at wide receiver. I like him a little bit more at safety. I think that's where he's probably going to play long term. I think they might move him to safety. But, man, if he works out wide receiver, I see no reason to move him. The main thing for me with Jeremiah is, learning that playbook at a high level because he was not early enrollee, and then also fixing the drop issue. Like, he has a little bit of a drop issue going on right now in fall camp. Can he figure that out? But, I mean, Jeremiah Jones is so athletically gifted where it's kind of like, it's kind of like some of these other receivers that had the pass for the Huskers. We just got to get him on the field. Like, he's kind of like a Xavier Betts. Like, Xavier Betts was somebody who was so athletically gifted, we got him on the field no matter what. Like, even though Xavier didn't know the playbook. Jeremiah, I think, knows the playbook, but he's so athletically gifted where we're going to find a role for him. We're going to find some packages to put him in the game. So could he redshirt? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but he's going to use his 4 games, and he could be impactful. And I honestly expect him potentially playing more than just that. And then, talk about Mozee, who's probably been this, I'd say objectively probably been the best performing freshman. TJ he's been playing good, but I mean, Isaiah Mosee's going to have a role this year. Like, we know he's in that running back room now. I still think it's going to be a Wandale role, long term, where he's kind of a Debo Samuel type of figure where he lines up at both wide receiver and running back. But with his elusive ability, I mean, with that run to catch ability, the ability to break tackles is something that we haven't seen too long in a long time from a guy who plays multiple positions. I'm buying a lot of Isaiah Mozee stock. My main thing, though, in my eyes, in order to be a successful running back in the Big Ten specifically, you need to be able to pass block, and he hasn't proven that. Like, when you have such a background of being a wide receiver, you learn run blocking. You don't learn how to pass block, especially against edge rushers. Blocking boundary corners on an inside zone play is a lot different than blocking an edge rusher head on who's coming full steam at you. That's a lot different. So in order for Isaiah Mozee to be actually that productive player this year, I want him to prove to everybody that he's a great pass blocker, because we already know what he is at catching the football. He's dynamic. He's elusive. So I'm excited to see his role, but we know it's going to be more of kind of a Wandale type of figure as well. Like, he will line up a wide receiver from time to time. He'll have these jet sweeps. He's not going to be somebody who's run a lot in between the tackles. Not really going to happen too much from Isaiah. And then talking about one of my guys, who I think is going to have a role this year. I think he's going to play in 4 games. Like, they like to redshirt these offensive linemen unless you're just generational, like a 5-star. But Kaahaaina-Torres, just buy some stock in this young man, because he's not a freshman. He doesn't act like a freshman. He doesn't look like a freshman. I mean, he trains with NFL veterans. He was training with Ronnie Stanley a couple of months ago, who's a Ravens tackle. I mean, Kaahaaina-Torres is somebody where, like, his stock does not cost too much money. It's very cheap right now. Put some money in the stock. Come back 4 years, you're going to be a millionaire. I'm just, of course, making things up. But I mean, just know that Kaahaaina-Torres, his potential is through the roof. In the way that he played in spring ball and in fall camp so far, he's a dynamic run blocker who also has a lot of good upside in the pass pro. He can play center, which is where his future's at, but he can also play guard. He has a positional versatility. He's somebody who's Polynesian. He's tough. Man, I think he's going to be distributed a lot. I think he's going to play 4 games for Nebraska, and he's going to be very productive. And, throughout the season, I could very well see him burn his redshirt, if he gets his opportunity. So I'm excited for Kaahaaina-Torres. Just got to stay healthy. That's the main thing around him and the rest of these offensive linemen. And then talking about Cade Petchak, same deal there where, he was not an early enroll. He got on campus for the first time in July. Now, I won't lie to you. I thought that we'd get some more headlines around Cade Petchak at this point in time, but the coaching staff said not too long ago that he's been coming along really, really well, that he's, just learning everything. Riley Van Poppel's very close with him. So Cade Petchak, somebody where, Nebraska, This was arguably their biggest recruiting win of last year's class because he was an Oklahoma silent commit for a long time. They think that he has the upside to be a better Ty Robinson because of his athletic ability. I mean, you go back, you watch his high school tape. It was ridiculous. He's jumping on the line of scrimmage and tackling the opposing running back in a split second, man. Shooting through it. He's a freak coming out of North Dakota. So I think Petchak, like he's probably going to redshirt at this point in time because his defensive line is probably deeper than I was giving it credit for. But expect him to have a big role in year 2. And he's had a really strong fall camp. We could still see him playing a lot of games, but somebody who's definitely a mauler, I'm expecting a lot from. And then, Dawson Merritt was recently shouted out by the coaching staff. I mean, 6'3", 225 pounds. He was out for all of spring ball, but with the way it sounds, he's been coming along a lot really nicely over these last couple of weeks with his athletic upside. So I think, this Jack room is probably the most loaded position group on the team, with of course, Deshaun McCullough, with Willis McGahee, with Jordan Oshoa, with some of the other guys like a Maverick Noonan. So he has a lot of guys in his way to actually play a lot. But, Dawson Merritt with his freak speed, like it kind of reminds me of a Princewell Mamielem, where I can't remember if Princewell's redshirt his first year. I don't think he was. Very similar. Both those guys were elite recruits with great size and not too great weight, but when you're so freakishly athletic, you're going to find a way to get on the field. I think he's pretty much a Princewell 2.0 with a higher upside. For that reason, I think Dawson Merritt, if he can stay healthy, there's no reason why he's not going to play as a true freshman, right? Another guy who will be productive. So that's one more guy my eyes out for in the last one, at least like Bryson Weber. I think is absolutely going to play the true freshman on special teams a lot. He was a corner coming out of Texas, high athletic upside, kind of like I think I would compare him to an Amari Sanders. He's pretty much like an Amari Sanders, right? Where he's super tall, super lanky, long arms, super speedy, and can go get an interception and jump ball scenario. So Bryce Weber, probably not going to play a lot corner this year, but mainly going to be a special teams guy. And they'll burn your red shirt. If they think you're a really good gunner, Mike Kicklow's going to say, yeah, you're going to play in all 12 games. Like we're done redshirting guys just to redshirt guys. Like if you're productive at a certain role, you're going to play. You're going to play in pretty much every game we can get you out there for. So wanted to give you guys that update around him. But, just talking about some of the other freshmen, I know I'm going to get a question about Jamarion Parker. He's out for an extended period. Probably won't play at all this year. Connor Booth, it's all about him, learning Big Ten defenses, making that jump from C2 football to Big Ten. Like that's a big jump from a running back. We talk about some of these other offensive linemen. They're very raw. They're not going to play. Juju Marks is out for the year, more likely than not, along with a couple other guys there. Defensive line, we know that both Malcolm Simpson and Tyson Terry, they're pretty much out for extended time. Tyson's out for the entire year. Malcolm probably out for likely the entire year. Linebacker, like Christian Jones, still far ways away. Pierce Mooberry, very much a far ways away. And then DBs, Tanner Turk, not going to play this year along with Caden Vermoss. So that's pretty much the update there around all the freshmen, what I'm expecting, all the stuff we've heard. But, if I want to give you my prediction of who plays a true freshman, like I'll just give you my honest prediction. Who burns the red shirt for Nebraska in 2025? Isaiah Mozee will. Cortez Mills will. I believe Jeremiah Jones will. So that's 3 right there. That's a very impressive 3. I'm at that point where I'm thinking TJ might. Not there yet, though. I think he'll play in 4 because the coaching staff will really value his red shirt long term. They can know the plan. They know how important he is for the future of this program. So I'm going to stick with 3. I'm going to go with Dawson Merritt at 4. I'm going to go with Bryson Weber at 5. And then I actually do think Cade Petchak will shock some people playing a lot of games. Because if you're productive on this D-line like Akil and Davis, like they will play you pretty quickly rather than later. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Who you think plays right away? I want to hear what you're thinking. Hey, if you made this far, you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go grab and go, and I'll see you in the next one.